Boys and girls, if there wasn't a game that they had tried out there hyping up as much as they possibly could, it would be Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, this is a game that so we saw a lot of the trailers for it, we saw a lot of the clips and some of the stuff that started happening as soon as this game out to launch. Well, needless to say, there was a lot of fans that were not very happy about it whatsoever. And the abysmal sales have been, abysmal. And the current count of people playing the game is literally in the hundreds most of the time, especially during the day. And at peak was maybe around 3,000 as of recent memory. It's just not doing very well at all. This is a game that is more or less dead, and even with the latest DLC that they've had, now adding the Joker to the game, well, that hasn't helped reprise anything at all. And of course, it didn't help that they made a very hetero or very homosexual reference to the Joker with a very obvious joke of exactly how they intended the Joker to be throughout this game. Of course, didn't lend itself any credence with the fan backlash out there. And of course, this is one of the companies that used to be one of the great, wonderful rock steadies out there. Somebody who used to make AAA great smash hit games every single time they put out, which is why there was a lot of hype about this game. There was a lot of anticipation. But what happens at the end of the day when you decide to go ahead and flip the script, and instead of having a lot of people play their wonderful and favorite heroes out there, no, you have them play a bunch of crazy villains, a bunch of anti-heroes at best. They go out there and completely and totally destroy and deconstruct all of the wonderful heroes we'd all known and grown up and loved with, and color us shocked that the game didn't do very well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Rocksteady and everybody else over there involved with this at Warner Brothers is deciding to pull the plug already, because if rumor be true, it looks like this game is not going to last and not be supported for very long at all. And that's exactly what we're here to talk about, because as you can see from this wonderful article over Bounding into Comics, rumor, Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League leak reveals upcoming DLC characters, suggests live service supporting coming to an end in early 2025, ladies and gentlemen. And now how early in 2025, we don't know. But literally, we could talk about having support for the live service coming to an end barely a year, or maybe even less than a year from the game actually debuting out there. And that is pathetic and shows you how little confidence they have in the future of this game going forward. This is a game that they plan on having a live service event going forward, being able with much more DLC, much more stuff that you have to buy, much more stuff that you have to grind and get, and now they're looking like, yeah, no, this is a bad idea. It would just end up being a giant waste of money. So we're checking this article from Bounding Comics. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe or follow and hit that like button if you would, please. So let's check this out. Shout out to Ryan Pearson over at Bounding Comics for writing this up. So a new look of supposed information regarding the future of the Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League has only revealed the alleged identities of the widely panned title's upcoming roster of DLC characters, but also evidence that suggests that its live service support may be coming to an end after barely a year of operation. Spoiler warning, this article contains spoilers for current and potential future content in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, like most of you even actually care at this point. The latest info surrounding Rocksteady Games' latest title was first raised to the public courtesy of noted scooper Miller Ross, whose track record includes accurately scooping the Nolan North would voice Superman and Jason Isaacs would play Brainiac in Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, as well as the sensation of development on Marvel's Avengers ceasing development and the existence of the Overwatch-inspired Marvel Rivals. Needless to say, this guy's got a good track record, which is why we listen to people like this when they have a good track record. That's why we pay attention to the rumor mill, because a lot of time it gives us an idea of what's coming over the hill. And like I said, these guys have proven track records. That's why we go back to them. Multiple sources at Rocksteady tell me that Kevin Conroy recorded dialogue for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's post-launch campaign before his passing, Ross claimed on April 5th. Now, over here, later, also on that same post, he says, Batman returns to Metropolis in Suicide Squad's upcoming 4th season after being rescued from a medieval-themed Elseworld of supervillain Brainiac's design, joining the Flash and Green Lantern as the Justice League continues to reform following the events of the game's campaign. Now, this is a rumor we'd heard for a while that this was going to be their way of trying to save the game, that supposedly the people that the Suicide Squad, the Justice League killed were all just actually clones, and that it was supposed to be one of those situations where, like, no, it wasn't actually your heroes, and then now all these people are going to come back, and they're going to reform the Justice League, and yada, yada, yada. And it just sounds like a desperation attempt at this point to bring these characters back in. Maybe this was the plan all along, I don't know, but if it was, boy almighty, was this a really bad idea from the get-go to go ahead and go forward with this kind of story and then decide to try to fix it on the back end. Too late, too little, way too late. This game is an absolute miserable failure, and Rocksteady and everybody else involved knows that. So Season 4 of Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League is currently slated to commence in January 2025. This season also brings Deathstroke into the fray as a new playable character who is of two minds about rescuing the man who humiliated him in 2015's Arkham Knight. The story concludes in the game's 5th season, where the reassembled Justice League joins forces with Argus to end Brainiac's multiversal reign of terror. Sources tell me this will likely serve as the game's finale, with the recent Season 1 doing little to reignite sales. Exactly, boys and girls. They know they are done. They've already put all this money into creating all of these DLCs, creating all these other season stuff, or creating all these characters. They're just going to go ahead and put them out there, and they're going to go, and call it done, call it finite, just call it finished, and just move on with their lives and move on to their next project. They have no desire whatsoever to keep going this forward. And if this game was actually a success, they continue on with it. Look how long Rocksteady's moved forward. Look how long Rocksteady's moved forward with all of this kind of stuff, with all of the with the Grand Theft Auto and the online. That thing's been going for what, 5 years now. It's supposed to be the number one game, has made the most money of all other games in history because of how much money they made on the live service kind of stuff like that. Trust me, if they thought this game was going to do well continuing going forward, they would keep this going. They would have plans for it forever. But they know this thing is an absolute abysmal failure, which is why they're cutting it off. They're not developing anything new for this going forward. They are completely and totally done. So next, pressed by follower Twitter Big Blue Booster as to whether he could provide further information as the identity of the game's other 4 DLC characters, Ross was happy to present his alleged findings. The other ones are Killer Croc, Katana, Poison Ivy, Black Manta, and Scream Queen, and Gorilla Grodd, which all actually kind of make sense, except for maybe the Scream Queen. I don't know, but either way, it's one of them situations. So moving on to Correct GameSpot's article, Ross has already, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League hackers are already playing his next season's characters. Ross then affirmed, no, they're not. The season 2 characters, Mr. Freeze, Deathstroke is season 4. And nobody is playing as him. They can just make his name and a little icon appear. His model isn't even in the public client. So I'm rating this, they are fine with the sensitive information while they're being experimented with on my Brainiac. Flash has a whole new Melkin thing going with a rescue him. He can slip back into a brainwashing, which is one reason why Victoria puts him in the cryostasis pod while they fix his brain. So basically, it's just a lot of other stuff for all of the rest of it. So talking about all the rest of the extras, all the stuff coming on with all of that kind of stuff. But even so, condensing 13 Brainiacs worth of content down to just 5 suggests that the game is as admitted back in late February by Warner Bros. Discovery themselves, had indeed fallen short of expectations. The free Season 1 update, its content centered around the introduction of a Joker from another reality, is available now. However, a cursory glance at the reviews has sadly confirmed that the update upholds the game's reputation for being lackluster and grindy. And that's one of the other things that they heard about this. Even just to unlock the Joker, it costs you $10, and then you still have to grind just in order to get him. So not only do you pay the money for him, you don't actually just get him, but you still have to grind in order to get him and use him as well. This is one of those situations where color is shocked there. You decide to go a specific route. You decide to listen to people like Sweet Baby Inc. and all of the rest of these other advisory people out there that tell you to go in this crazy direction. You people don't understand how to write actual proper heroes. So you go with all these anti-heroes that are villains because you understand evil and you understand how bad people's minds work because, well, let's just say the obvious. If it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. If the shoe fits, by all means, wear it. There's a reason why we guys know that you love to write about evil characters, why you like to write about villains, because that's the kind of people that you see yourselves as at the end of the day, because you guys know you're not putting good stuff out in the world. You're not doing good things. You're going out there and destroying beloved characters, beloved franchises, and you're doing it on the sacrificial ideological idol and altar of the woke cult. And you continue to do this, and you will continue to do it going forward. The fortunate part is the mainstream has woken up. The main street has woken up. You guys have officially run out of other people's monies, and gamers are starting to win. They are pushing back, and the absolute admittance of this, and these rumors, if they end up being true, which most likely they are, the fact that they are ending this after just that 5 episode and not planning on making anything else going forward after having such great success with online services in the past shows you they have no faith in this game going forward. They know this was an absolute mistake. It was an absolute failure, and hopefully they have learned their lesson going forward and will not listen to all of these insane activists out there that only end up doing one thing. When you involve diversity, inclusion, and equity, there's one place and one place only that your games, your products, and your entire studio will and may end up going, and that is to die. Dying all the way through and sadly being thrown out on the ash heap of history. Rocksteady, learn your lesson, do better, and don't ever make this mistake again, because I promise you, the fans will continue to abandon you, you will continue to lose hundreds of millions of dollars, and at some point, you will run out of other people's money, and you'll end up, just like every other studio that's gone down this path, had to close their doors and fire everyone. Don't do that. Be better. Make your gamers happy, and we'll make you rich. Make us upset, and we'll make sure all of you end up in the poorhouse.